With the shooter genre dominated by FPS games, Chorus stands out from the rest, showing that you don't need to follow the status quo to be good. It's not too often where you see a flight simulator break so many boundaries and excel at it. A common problem people run into when playing a flight combat game is trying to lock onto your target over and over again. But Chorus answers that problem in a unique way that I hope to see more games pick up on. The gameplay left me feeling like I was the best pilot in all the galaxy with all the cool features they added in. The cinematic scenes looked fantastic, and the story kept me hooked until the end. Chorus is definitely a game you should play if you're looking to live out your fantasies of being the best pilot in the galaxy. As soon as you're loaded into the game, you're introduced to Nara, who is one of the best, if not the best pilot around. On top of that, they waste no time explaining the world around you while giving you a bunch of lore to dive deep into. But even though they throw a lot at you right off the bat, it's extremely easy to follow and they do a great job at hooking you in. Throughout the game, you see Nara grow and develop into something great. A beat they hit on time and time again in this game is that it's never too late to change your ways. Even though the road to redemption is a long one, it's still a possible one at the end of the day. It's something we see Nara struggle with too as the game goes on. Throughout the game, we hear her inner thoughts, sometimes trying to discourage her or encourage her, depending on what's happening in game. A feature I haven't seen done since Hellblade's Senua's Sacrifice. And even though she's against high odds, she's not alone. Early on, you're introduced to a living ship named the Forsaken, and the two of them have a deep and complicated history that you explore throughout the game. The more the game goes on, the more both Nara and the Forsaken grow and become better. At times too, the Forsaken is almost more human than Nara is at times. Watching them both develop was definitely one of the strongest points in the game, and it left me both happy and sad all at the same time. The further the gameplay goes, the higher the stakes get, adding a level of anticipation of what's to come next. At times when you feel like you have an idea of where the game's going to take you, it'll hit you with a twist that you wouldn't have guessed. The flying and the combat felt incredibly smooth. The game left me feeling like I was Han Solo flying the Millennium Falcon because of the insane moves I was able to make. As the story goes on, you begin to unlock new powers in games that range from all sorts of abilities. These abilities range from teleporting behind a ship, being able to drift your spaceship, ramming into them at an incredibly fast speed, and so much more. So if you find yourself with an enemy that you just can't shake, just hit them with the drift and teleport right behind them. There's all sorts of cool and fun combinations that you can do in game, and they even encourage you to try them out as well. Because in certain levels, it's designed for you to have fun with the powers you get, allowing you to go wild with them. The boss fights were incredible. They really leaned into the sci-fi aspect of this game, because whenever I fought a boss, it felt like I was fighting one of the original Star Fox bosses on the Nintendo 64. They were so over the top but incredibly fun because of all the weird and fun transformations they took. They weren't afraid to have fun with it while staying true to the aesthetic of the game. On top of that, flying in the game feels amazing. There's never a point in game where I felt like I wasn't in control or didn't know what to do. While the game does take place in space, you'll find yourself flying upside down in battle and won't even recognize it until halfway through the fight. But it won't even matter because all the enemies will be doing the same exact thing, adding an extra level of immersion in this sci-fi flight sim. But if you want to fly around and enjoy the stars, you definitely can. As the story progresses, you're able to jump into new systems that are all differently unique from the last. Each system is filled with missions and cool sites to explore. So if you want to fly your ship at high speeds while dodging asteroids, or cruise through a space city while taking in the cyberpunk aesthetic, you could, no problem. The game truly shines in its cinematics. I often found myself getting lost in the amount of detail they went into making Nara look so real. Although it's a bit of a bummer whenever there is a cutscene it only has Nara in it, it's still gorgeous to look at, but I just wish we would have seen other people in these scenes too. Because whenever we hear her talking to other people, all we see is a photo of them in the corner, and that's all. Or when there's a flashback scene, it can be a little hard at times to figure out who exactly is talking, because all we see is a ship just flying around. It would have been nice to see other people outside their ships besides Nara, but the scenes we did get were still breathtaking nonetheless. Chorus does a great job of building a world full of lore that will get you hooked until the very end. The gameplay is where it truly shines, with fun powers to use in the middle of a dogfight. You'll often find yourself getting lost in the stars or being invested in the main character. We here at the Geek Press give Chorus an 8 out of 10. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe, and for more geeky content, be sure to follow us on all of our social media platforms and me on Twitter. This is Luis Gutierrez, signing off.